People are ready before the MC. That's a good sign. I'm going to get out of that light.
Oh, I don't
Good
know.
morning. Bonjour.
I think if it gets...
Ça me fait plaisir de vous voir ici en si grand nombre ce matin. Thank you for taking time from your holiday celebrations. All of you have tons of stuff to do, social and otherwise, so thanks for coming. As you can see from this very long lineup of community leaders, there's much opposition to Bill 86. In a moment, I will introduce our speakers, but I would certainly like to point out the presence of some very important people to the community. Greta is here. Greta is the former Chancellor McGill University, and she chaired the task force on Anglophone School Network in Quebec in 1992, and went on to become the first chair of the Advisory Board on English Education for the Minister of Education. Alex Patterson was to join us this morning, but I don't see him in the room. He's on his way. All right, very good. Well, we'll welcome Mr. Patterson when he comes in. Alors, Mr. Patterson va être avec nous bientôt. J'aimerais aussi vous dire, from the Qcgn point of view, that Alex and Greta are winners of the Victor and Sheila Goldblum Awards. And so being them here today, plus Dr. Goldblum and Sheila, who's in the room as well, is a great honor for us. Also sitting at the table, we have Dan Lamoureux, who's the chair of Riverside, Noel Burke, vice chair of Lester B. I think Sylvia Lobianco was supposed to be with us, but I don't see her from EMSB. I'm sure she's here with us in spirit. Jim Shea, Western Quebec School Board. And we have people coming in that I am not sure, but we'll come to sit at the table and we'll give them a little place cards so you can see exactly who's at the table. We also have Qcgn, our own Qcgn members. Walter DeSera, who's our vice president. Brian Rock, with the Quebec Federation of Home and School. Anna Farrow, English-speaking Catholic Council. We have invitees and people from Côte Saint-Luc. We have Michael Brownstein, I think he's in the room. Michael Udy, Seniors Action Quebec. And we also have Debbie German from EPCA, English Parent Committees Association. I have the pleasure also saying that we have a lot of people from across the province on live streaming. We have members from Rouyn-Noranda, Eastern Townships, La Naudière, and I might be missing a few. From the Gaspé. That's who I know is on the line. But live streaming, of course, as you know, everybody can come in, and we're expecting lots of folks. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Marlene Jennings. Marlene is a lawyer and former MP who recently chaired the Election System Study Panel, which consulted the community at large and came up with 13 recommendations which aim to protect the constitutional rights of English-speaking Quebecers and the integrity of our educational institutions. Of course, we all know these institutions are key to the vitality of our communities. Je demandais à Madame Jennings de faire la première présentation. Merci.
Good morning, bonjour. It was my honor to chair the Election System Study Panel, and as you all know, the Minister consigned our report and our recommendations to the garbage. Well, I've read Bill 86, and I believe that it belongs in the garbage. It has made a mockery of the English language minority community's constitutional right under Section 23 of our Charter, our right to control and manage education within our community. It makes a mockery of our right to continue to thrive within this province. It makes a mockery of our success rates. We have an 85% success rate of our students. It's one of the best, if not the best, in the country. And this government, under the leadership of the Minister of Education, François Blais, has made a mockery. Well, I don't think our community should stand for it. I think that, and I'll give you one simple example. We actually consulted our communities, organizations, and individuals, which this minister has not done. And one of the recommendations that we made, in addition to maintaining the school boards and democratically, universally elected commissioners, was that the existing law which determines who actually gets to vote English commissioners for English school boards and our schools was actually voter suppression. We made a series of recommendations how to ensure that members of our community actually have a right to vote. So what does the minister do? He says, oh, the English parents can decide, hold a referendum, and if 15% of them want to elect the community commissioners, they can do so, and the voting will be online. That makes a mockery of our report. It makes a mockery of our rights. I think this government should consign Bill 86 to the garbage. I don't even believe it's recyclable. It's not reusable. It should go to the garbage and should actually start doing the work it's supposed to do, which is actually consult and actually listen to the people who are the rights holders, which are members of our community. And then from there, develop a system which actually respects our constitutional right. Je vous dis que le ministre a mis le rapport sur les systèmes électoraux en éducation scolaire aux poubelles, mais je crois, après avoir fait une lecture très attentive de le projet de loi 86, que ce projet de loi doit être mis aux poubelles. Et je pense que le gouvernement devrait recommencer ses devoirs parce que je leur donne une note d'échec. Alors, recommencer leurs devoirs, faire une véritable consultation avec les représentants, les organismes et les individus de la communauté linguistique anglophone minoritaire du Québec pour mettre sur pied une véritable réforme du gouvernement, gouvernance scolaire. And I end my words there. I have a lot more to say, but I've been asked to keep it brief.
Thank you, Marlene. There will be opportunities to speak to Marlene after this formal part of the event. I'm sure that nous sommes très intéressés par tout ce que Mme Jennings a à nous dire sur ce projet de loi néfaste à notre communauté d'expression anglaise. I'd like to signal that Michael Murray from the Eastern Township School Board has come into the room, and the chair, and Sylvia Lobianco from EMSB. Good morning. I now have the pleasure of introducing Debbie German. And we'll hear a few words from her. Debbie is representing English Parents Committee Association with a membership of parent committees from 7 school boards across Quebec. Important parents are for the vitality of our community, in charge of the future of our English-speaking community. So, Debbie, merci.
Thank you. The English Parents Committee Association denounces the proposed Bill 86. Upon a cursory glance, the proposed bill has an outward appearance of greater parental presence within each school board's decision-making body. But upon careful examination, many clauses mitigate any of those perceived gains. We as parents fail to see how the proposed legislation will help sustain English minority schools, which are renowned to have some of Quebec's highest retention and academic success rates. In spite of EPCA having met with the minister twice to discuss governance issues, almost none of the recommendations were considered or acted upon. In fact, only one of our recommendations was addressed, yet mitigated by other measures introduced in the proposed bill. The EPCA intends to consult with its parent member committees and central parents committees to consider further action. As parents, we request that the minister puts the focus back where it belongs. After many years of being focused on councils and governance, let's put the focus back where it belongs, on student success. If that were the focus, we would see that we are doing well. Let's keep doing it.
Thank you very much. As we move along now, I'm going to introduce Jennifer Macaron, who is the president of the Quebec English School Board Association, the voice of English public education in Quebec. Jennifer has kids in the system and is a former chair of Parents Committee at Sir Wilfrid Laurier board, and we look forward to hearing her remarks this morning. Merci, Jennifer.
Thank you, Sylvia. I'm here today not only as an elected representative and not only as a member of the English language minority in this province, but also, most importantly, as a parent of two very special children. And I'm prepared to give whatever it takes to ensure that they succeed and that all the students in this province succeed. I'm here because I am incredibly proud of the success of our 9 English school boards with an 85% success rate. And if student success is the goal of this government, then why are the English community institutions under assault by individuals who are disconnected from our reality? Je suis ici avec mes collègues, des parents, des leaders de la communauté pour défendre nos commissions scolaires, nos écoles et surtout de protéger nos élèves et notre communauté minoritaire. I'm here because I believe in the power of public education to change lives and support communities. I'm here because education is the responsibility of everyone, because it is an anchor of democracy, and because it is our fundamental right, and our rights are under attack. Our schools belong to our minority community, and together we must ensure that we retain the right to manage and control them, committing ourselves to a strong and viable future for our students, the future of Quebec, and education. Our schools and our boards are the embodiment of the community's belief that all children and all students are important. Nos élèves, nous, les commissaires d'élus, n'avons pas un intérêt dans une seule école. Nous avons un intérêt dans l'ensemble de nos communautés. Nous défendons nos droits contre les individus qui discutent de la gouvernance et la réussite éducative sans le voir pour eux-mêmes dans le milieu scolaire. Nous avons l'obligation d'assurer que chaque élève a des opportunités réelles et le soutien pour les atteindre. This government has consistently proven that they do not understand and are disconnected from our community or the importance of treating their minorities with respect. We must stand together to protect our educational institutions. The right to manage and control is non-negotiable. Bill 86 simply allocates powers to the minister over our institutions and over our students. This is not acceptable, and we will not stand by and watch our rights erode any longer. We have tried to communicate these messages to the Minister of Education, François Blais, over the past 9 months. We have consulted with our English-speaking communities, and a resounding majority has spoken through the Jennings report. We must maintain our right to choose who will be the caretakers of our system and our students. This is a basic principle of democracy, and I reiterate, it is non-negotiable. This proposed bill represents a historic abandonment of our students and our community. It reminds us that we need to be here today on the ground, making clear to every parent and every community member that this bill hurts our students, our schools, our towns, and distances our communities and our minority communities from all decision-making. We call upon Premier Couillard to act in the best interest of his English-speaking minority community and meet with our sponsoring groups to open a healthy and honest dialogue on the future of our institutions and community. Nous sommes, comme nous l'avons toujours été, ouverts et prêts à discuter des changements qui bénéficieront nos élèves et nos institutions. We cannot make changes just for the sake of change. We cannot put our students' success at risk. This government must produce a responsible bill that will benefit our students, our schools, and our communities. We fully expect that the Couillard government will allow general consultations on this very important bill. Education is the cornerstone of every society, and any taxpayer or elector that chooses to be heard must be heard. This is not a campaign. This is our core. This is our future. These are our children, our students, and our communities. Thank you.
Merci, Jennifer. Now, that's a hard act to follow as our three speakers, but, you know, Dr. Goldblum is coming next. After a career in Quebec politics, during which he became the first ever Jewish cabinet minister and our first minister of state responsible for the environment, Dr. Goldblum was president and CEO of the Canadian Council of Christians, and then Canada's Commissioner of Official Languages. Dr. Goldblum est un ami, un conseiller, un héros pour notre communauté, et je l'invite à nous adresser la parole maintenant. Dr. Goldblum.
Thank you. I'll be brief, but I'm going to say the same thing twice. Je serai bref, mais soyez avertis que je répéterai deux fois la même chose. I'm not a constitutional expert, so I'm speaking out of my personal professional experience. During my 8 years as Commissioner of Official Languages, the issue of school governance came forward repeatedly in different parts of Canada. The Commissioner, especially since the adoption of the second version of the Official Languages Act in 1988, has a particular responsibility to support the vitality of the official language minority communities all across the country. When I became commissioner in 1991, only 3 provinces had given school governance to their official language minority community: Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Quebec. Over the subsequent years, each of the provinces and the 2 territories which existed at that time were challenged to move in that direction and provide school governance to their official language minority community. And by the time my term was ended in 1999, all the provinces and the 2 territories had given their official language minority community the right to govern their own schools. Not all provinces did so willingly, and therefore it was an issue before the courts on more than one occasion. Section 23 of the Canadian Charter is not explicit in its wording regarding school governance. So the courts were asked to determine, does that wording in fact create that right? And their answer was yes. So there is jurisprudence, and that jurisprudence is there for us to invoke. And in my personal view, the right to school governance is fundamental, and it therefore implies a satisfactory mechanism for the choice of those individuals who will carry that responsibility. Je ne suis pas un constitutionnaliste. Je parle donc en fonction de mon expérience professionnelle personnelle. Au cours de mes 8 années de mandat de commissaire aux langues officielles du Canada, la question de la gestion scolaire est revenue à répétition dans divers coins de notre pays. Le commissaire, notamment depuis l'adoption en 1988 de la deuxième version de la loi sur les langues officielles, a une responsabilité particulière envers les communautés de langue officielle vivant en situation minoritaire, et il est responsable de leur vitalité. En 1991, à mon arrivée en poste, il n'y avait que 3 provinces qui avaient accordé la gestion scolaire à leur communauté de langue officielle en situation minoritaire. L'île du Prince-Édouard, le Nouveau-Brunswick et le Québec. 8 ans plus tard, en 1999, à mon départ du poste, toutes les provinces et les 2 territoires qui existaient à l'époque avaient accordé la gestion scolaire à leur communauté minoritaire. Ce ne sont pas toutes les provinces qui l'ont fait de bon gré. Il a donc fallu se présenter devant les tribunaux dans plus d'un cas, et c'était nécessaire parce que la phraséologie de l'article 23 de la Charte canadienne n'est pas explicite en ce qui concerne la gestion scolaire. Les mots n'y paraissent pas. Il fallait donc demander aux tribunaux de fournir une interprétation, de confirmer notre prétention, celle du commissaire et celle des communautés, que, effectivement, ce que voulait dire l'article 23, ce que veut dire l'article 23, c'est que le droit à la gestion scolaire existe. C'est ce qu'ont fait les tribunaux. Ils ont créé donc une jurisprudence qui est à notre disposition. À mes yeux donc, le droit à la gestion scolaire est fondamental, et ce qui est implicite dans la reconnaissance de ce droit, c'est l'établissement ou le maintien d'un mécanisme satisfaisant pour le choix des gestionnaires qui assumeront cette responsabilité. Merci.
Merci, Dr. Goldblum. Le temps est venu des questions. I just wanted to say that I told you at the beginning that we would tell you who's on live stream, not who, but how many on live stream. There's over 100 people on live stream listening to this. And so that's important. It's important to us here at the head table, knowing that there's so much interest in what we're doing today. I'm sorry, folks out there, that you won't be able to ask questions, but thank you for being there. Je vais demander maintenant aux médias de poser des questions en vous identifiant et diriger la question à la personne que vous aimeriez que la réponse vienne de qui. Those who would want to ask a question from the media, please identify yourself and direct your question. Thank you. And I will direct traffic. Thank you.
Mon nom est Lia Lévesque, je suis journaliste à la presse canadienne. à qui pourra répondre, je n'ai pas de préférence. Le ministre Blais a déjà dit que la communauté anglophone conserverait le contrôle sur ces institutions, mais que ce ne serait plus des élus, ce serait un conseil d'établissement. Alors pourquoi vous faites la conclusion que vous allez perdre le contrôle?
Good morning.
Actuellement, c'est les membres de la communauté linguistique anglophone mis en situation minoritaire au Québec qui a le droit de voter les commissaires qui proviennent de la communauté. Parce que les commissaires parlants sont choisis par un autre système électoral. On l'appelle un système électoral college, electoral college. Et cette reconnaissance via les élections au suffrage universel reconnaît que l'éducation est de l'intérêt de toute la communauté et pas seulement les parents actuels qui ont des enfants dans le système scolaire. C'est de l'intérêt des parents futurs, les grands-parents, les membres de la communauté qui n'auront peut-être jamais des enfants par choix ou par autre raison, mais qui sont des entrepreneurs et qui veulent avoir des travailleurs qui sont bien scolarisés. La communauté a besoin de leaders et c'est via notre système scolaire qu'on développe et on forme nos leaders. Donc, c'est de l'intérêt de tout le monde. Comme Jennifer a mentionné, ceux qui payent les taxes scolaires, ceux qui ont un intérêt que c'est leur argent. Donc, ils ont un intérêt que le système scolaire auquel leur argent vont pour appuyer l'institution, payer les salaires des professeurs, le support technique, l'établissement, etc., les livres, et éduquer nos enfants, ils ont un intérêt que ça fonctionne pour l'intérêt des enfants. On a déjà des statistiques qui démontrent que, du moins, les écoles anglaises sont un succès. Je ne peux pas parler des écoles francophones, mais les écoles anglaises au Québec sont un succès. On a un taux de graduation, de diplomation de 85%. Et comme j'ai mentionné, et comme Jennifer a mentionné, si ce n'est pas le meilleur taux au Canada, c'est parmi les meilleurs taux de diplomation au Canada. Donc, ça veut dire que la façon que notre système de gouvernance scolaire fonctionne pour la minorité linguistique anglophone au Québec, c'est un succès, ça fonctionne bien. S'il y a des changements et des réformes à apporter au système, le gouvernement aurait mieux commencé en consultant notre communauté. Et ce n'est pas ça que le ministre a fait.
Does anyone else on the speakers? We're good. Oh, vous avez une question supplémentaire?
Si le ministre ne change pas sa loi, allez-vous la contester devant les tribunaux?
Moi, je ne peux parler que pour moi. Je ne suis pas élu à aucune commission scolaire, mais je suis un membre de la communauté linguistique anglophone minoritaire du Québec et je souhaite que si le ministre et le gouvernement vont de l'avance avec le projet de loi 86, tel qu'elle est formulée actuellement, qui bafoue nos droits constitutionnels, que notre communauté mette ses gants, mette ses pantalons et conteste devant les cours. Et je serai prête pour donner de l'argent pour ça.
J'ai deux personnes qui doivent répondre, Jennifer et Madame Chambers, le son droit. Alors, Jennifer, allez-y.
Comme nous avons mentionné tout à l'heure que la porte est ouverte pour nous. Nous sommes une communauté qui est prête à discuter avec le gouvernement, avec le ministère. Nous avons essayé pendant 9 mois à avoir un dialogue avec le ministère pour nous écouter, pour consulter, comme Mme Jennings a mentionné. Ça veut dire que la porte est ouverte pour nous de continuer le dialogue, mais la porte est aussi ouverte pour nous de poursuivre. Si ça arrive que le ministère garde la porte fermée, effectivement, nous avons des droits, puis nous avons
l'intention de protéger nos droits.
Madame Chambers, et ensuite Dr.
Bring it, Mike. Sylvia, bring it, Mike.
Oh, bring her back.
Folks, we're going to lose the glasses this morning. I should have come in earlier with this, but the 14 years that we ran that advisory board in English education was real education for most of us on that committee. Because the reason that, one of the most important reasons why our school board did so well and Diplomation was so high was because the community would not have had it otherwise. You kept your children in school until they got that what's it called, DEC, you got that was important. And it didn't matter what you had to go through, that's what you needed. You didn't really care how well they did, you wanted to give them that piece of paper. So we discovered that, for instance, there were some courses. There was a course, a very hard course in math. In the French section, you didn't have to take it if you were going to be a doctor or engineer or something. In English, everybody took it. In case, au cas où, they all took it because you had to keep it up. And this was the most important thing for them because education was such an important factor in the development of the citizen. And this you have to always keep this in mind. It doesn't, what we can fight it. We can fight it on the constitutional line. But this is a very deep-rooted feeling in the community. One day, the premier, who was museum shop at the time, had a huge gathering of everybody in the province. There was an education table, there was a school table, there was a CEGEP table, there was a student table, there was everything. There was a medicine table, and everybody was there. And one of the tables that were most rebellious were the students. And they were very against any kind of raising of tuition fees. Now, this wasn't their tuition fees to go to school, this was their universities. But they made a tremendous fuss. And somebody said to them, why are you behaving this way? And anyway, when it was all over, I was sitting at the education table of the universities and the CEGEP, and they all disappeared. I had spoken quite strongly about the fact that we should be paying attention to education. They all left me. They said, oh, I'll stay at Monshi. So the next table over were the students, and they jumped their feet, and they rushed over, read it, look, as if they were going to mob me. And they said, Madame, vous comprenez pas. C'est parce que dans votre culture, l'éducation est importante. Elle n'est pas importante chez nous. On voudrait, une fois qu'on a un diplôme, qu'on a fait des sous, il faut gagner sa vie, il faut prendre ses responsabilités. Alors, parce que c'est pas tellement important pour la vie. L'éducation, c'est pour gagner sa vie, pas pour la réussir.
Okay. One last comment from Dr. Tolman before we move on.
Il y a une toile de fond ici qui mérite d'être soulignée. Il y a diverses interprétations de ce que le Canada a réussi en 1867. Il y a des Canadiens, notamment dans les autres provinces, qui perçoivent l'entente de 1867 comme créant une fédération de 10 provinces égales. Il y a d'autres Canadiens, notamment ici au Québec, qui perçoivent la Confédération comme une entente entre deux peuples fondateurs. Nous voici pour l'affirmer.
Merci. Alors, are there other questions from the media?
Hi, Tim Sargent, Global News, for official from Arlene Jennings. Could you just explain, you were saying, talking about the graduation rate of 85%, one of the most successful rates in the country. Can you explain how Bill 86 threatens that?
Right now, it's my belief, and we heard from numerous organizations and individuals from the English minority community of Quebec throughout the summer that one of the reasons why our success is so high in graduating and our students in the English school system, public system, is precisely because our schools go beyond just strictly educating the student. It's because the schools in the majority of the English minority communities throughout Quebec act as the pole for community activity, for sporting activity, for cultural activities. The overwhelming majority of our communities outside of the Greater Montreal area do not have any other institutions. They live in small communities, don't have community centers, don't have sports arenas, don't have any of what we take for granted here on the island. And therefore, with the school commissioners of their school boards and the schools, they make that the hub of community life. And when Dr. Goldblum talks about how the official languages commissioner has a responsibility to see to the vitality of the official language minority communities, that comes from the legislation, but it also comes from jurisprudence all the way up to the Supreme Court of Canada when it interpreted Section 23. And it said control and management goes beyond just the education of the student, it goes to the vitality of the official minority language communities.
Just very quickly, how would Bill 86 then destroy that?
Because it takes away the right of the community to have a say in the control and management of education within its community. It strips away that right completely.
And then just to follow up, I know you spoke about this earlier in French, but what's the next step then? If Bill 86 does go through, is it going to the courts, or just explain a little bit what the next step is?
As I explained, I believe it was in English, I don't represent any organization. I don't sit on any school board. I'm not part of the parents committee. My daughter's long out of the public, school system. So under Bill 86, I have no rights, absolutely no rights. Notwithstanding the fact I was born and raised here, notwithstanding the fact it was the English public school system that educated me, okay, and allowed for my success. Under Bill 86, I have absolutely no rights. Unless at 64, I adopt a child, because I won't be able to biologically have a child. I adopt a child and put her or him into the public school system. That's what Bill 86 does. So it strips the community of our rights to control and manage education within our community. And by doing so, it imperils the success rates of our children.
Jan?
Bravo.
Jennifer had a follow-on.
I just wanted to add to that Bill 86 empowers the minister, very much so. There's one person who is in control of everything that's happening, including distancing, as Marlene has mentioned earlier, the rights of our minority communities, and this especially has a very damaging impact on our rural communities. It is impossible for them to implement the bill as it stands today. As she mentioned as well, because they are community hubs, you are effectively closing Anglophone communities. You're not just removing their rights, but you will be damaging them, damaging student success. It's also been proven over and over again, not only across Canada, but outside of Canada, changes to governance do nothing to improve student success. Nothing in this bill speaks to student success. This is a minister that is completely disconnected with our community and has not done anything to speak to student success and what he's going to be doing to improve that for us. And again, as we've mentioned, an 85% success rate, I think that we're doing everything right.
Caroline Van Lorden, CTV Montreal. I have a question for you as well, Jennifer. We all know that school board elections have had dismally low voter turnout. That's part of the reason why the government undertook this whole exercise. And part of the law is that, or the bill is that it would change the elected commissioners to councils. How would that give the English community less say in how to run their own schools? What, just governing wise, how would that give you less of a voice?
less of a voice because we're now only keeping it within the hands of only the parents. And it doesn't respond to Article 23 in that the minister is going to be dictating who is eligible to run in those elections. In last elections, if you consider not only Anglophone but the Francophone communities, 250,000 people went to vote. It's as if the minister is saying that those people don't have any rights and that their voice should not be given any consideration. The last elections had dismally low turnouts in the Francophone sector, not in the Anglophone sector. We had a higher turnout despite many challenges for us to get the vote out. You're thinking about very large territories where some people had to drive 300 kilometers back and forth just to go vote. It was very difficult for parents and taxpayers to get on the right electoral system. It was very challenging for anybody to vote in general. It's not the elections that are costly to the province. It's not even the timing. We need to ensure that universal suffrage is maintained. Under this proposed bill, there is no universal suffrage.
My understanding, though, is that the bill says that if a community or a school board decides they want to elect their council, they can have a vote online. So how is that different from asking everybody to present themselves at polling stations? How does that lessen your power or your getting governance?
It's going to be very challenging under Bill 86 to simply get that. We need to determine if 15% of the parents decide that they want to have an election. Once again, 65% of the people that voted in the last elections were not parents, they were taxpayers, people that are paying their school taxes and want to make sure that their voices are heard. This is saying that 15% of the parents have to decide whether they want to have universal suffrage, whether they want to proceed, and then we're saying to our Secretary General, so by the way, now you need to run an election, you need to build a list, you need to make sure that people are get on that list. We're not going to give you any resources or any supplemental powers to go ahead and build that list, and then you go out to the community, and then even after that, the minister still has the right to change his mind.
So, if there are no further questions from the media, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody and wrap it up. Thank you out there in live streaming world. And merci. Il va y avoir l'occasion pour les gens des médias de faire des un à un. Alors, je vous remercie. Thank you very much. And the rest of you, stay with us and mill around and let's talk about this some more. Thank you very much for turning up this morning. And happy holidays, everybody.
You guys hear that? Kind of cutting out a little bit. A couple of